She walked into the river just before sunset. Not to swim. Not to bathe. Just to stand. The water reached her knees. The baby on her back was quiet, SND for hours. She didn't move. No talking. No crying. No sound but the wind and the river. People passed. On bikes. On foot. In cars. Some slowed down, unsure of what they were seeing. Others whispered behind their windows. A few pulled out their phones, recording in secret. She's lost it. She's going to hurt that child. Someone call someone. That's not normal. She's dangerous. But no one stepped in. No one approached. No one asked her name. No one asked her why. Her name was Miriam. Just 2 weeks earlier, she was like anyone else. A tired but loving mom, doing her best. She had a small home, peeling walls, curtains that didn't match. A baby's crib that creaked when rocked too hard. And a kitchen that always smelled like cardamom and fresh bread. She had a baby named Daniel. He laughed every time the wind touched his cheeks. He liked sunlight. He liked music. He liked her voice most of all. That day, she only meant to step out for a moment. The market was 5 minutes away. She needed medicine, milk, and few other things to get. She was gone for about 15 minutes. That's all. When she came back, her street was full of smoke. Her home, burning. Neighbors screaming. Firefighters pushing through the heat. Daniel was inside. She tried to run to him. They held her back. The heat was too much. Too late. Too dangerous. It was an old neighbor, a retired electrician with a limp and a heart too big that went in. He came out coughing, weak, eyes watering. But he had Daniel in his arms. Burned. Barely breathing. But alive. Daniel was rushed to the hospital. Doctors told her the truth. He would live. But it would be a hard road. Skin grafts. Burn trauma therapy. Pain medication. Regular checkups. Specialist. She nodded and signed everything they gave her. Said thank you even when she didn't understand. And then she walked to the hospital bathroom. Locked the door. And cried until her knees gave out. She had 42,000 naira in her account. She called everyone she could. Neighbors, relatives, non-profits. Aid groups. Social workers. Filled out papers that asked her to list her income, her religion, her trauma. Again. And again. Most of them ended with, "We'll get back to you." They never did. They went home. Daniel on the floor. Crying. All day. All night. Miriam tries to soothe him, rocking, humming softly. He didn't laugh anymore. Didn't respond to her voice. Didn't sleep unless he passed out from exhaustion. He cried. And cried. And cried. She tried everything. Oils. Western medicine. Traditional prayers. Old songs from her mother's childhood. Warm water baths. Silence. Lullabies. Nothing helped. And the worst part. She could feel herself unraveling. Her voice hoarse from repeating, "It's okay. Mama's here." Her hands shaky from too little sleep. Her chest tight with grief and guilt and pressure. She was breaking. Slowly. Quietly. And no one noticed. One night. Miriam was lying on the floor. Daniel asleep on her chest. She stares at the ceiling, hollow-eyed. She thought of leaving. Not him. Never him. But maybe just the pain. Just for a day. Just one breath without the weight. But there was no one else. No one to hand him off to. No one who would understand. So she stayed. And stayed. And stayed. Until surviving started to feel like disappearing. Then, one night, she remembered something her grandmother used to say. If no one will hear your pain, go to the water. The river always listens. Miriam took her baby to the river. She didn't expect a miracle. She just wanted to feel something that didn't hurt. To stand in a place where her grief didn't echo back at her. So she stepped into the river. The water cold at first, but not unkind. And she stood. 10 minutes. Then 20. Then an hour. The next day, she came back. And the day after that. She said nothing. Did nothing. She just stood offering her silence to the current. Her grief to the earth. Her exhaustion to the wind. People saw her, they whispered, took pictures. Judged. But no one asked her why. By the 4th visit to the river, he slept through the night. By the 5th day, he laughed when she tickled his foot, and by the 7th day he reached out for her. Not out of pain. But out of trust. The water hadn't fixed everything. But it had given her space. Stillness. A place to cry without questions. A place to breathe without fear. Those same people on the bridge, watching her. Still whispering. Still judging. They still don't get it. Still assume the worst. Still post photos online without context. But Miriam doesn't care anymore. She doesn't walk in shame now. She walks with strength. With her baby in her arms. And her healing in progress. Miriam walks away from the river as the sun rises. Baby in her arms. The light casting gold on the water. She no longer waits for the world to understand. She no longer needs permission to grieve or to heal. Because sometimes, strength doesn't look like shouting. Sometimes, it's just standing. And if you ever see someone standing in silence, carrying a story you can't see, don't assume. Maybe they're not broken. Maybe they're rebuilding. One quiet moment at a time.